Welcome to Loco Gringo Mexico, where we can take you beyond the usual on your vacation. Each week we talk with amazing locals who know the Riviera Maya and Yucatan like only locals can. Get real tips to real places, insights on the local scene, culture, and cuisine from a local's perspective. So pour yourself a margarita, mezcal, or tequila, grab yourself a comfy chair, and let's get the show going.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Loco Gringo Mexico. My name's Kay Welton. I'm your host, and I am so glad you tuned in today. Well, we're going to be talking to a New Yorker, Russell Grainger, who moved to Playa del Carmen, and he didn't have a normal journey. You know, a lot of people we talk to, they say, oh, I came on vacation and fell in love with the beach. Well, Russell came down here for business reasons, and he's going to talk a little bit about business here in Mexico and how he got involved. And also he's going to share with us, Russell's big involved with the community, so he's going to talk a little bit about community service. And then he's going to share with us even a new taco place I didn't know about. So he's going to talk about some great places to eat along with his place, his restaurant called Don Chendo. This episode is brought to you by Playa. You know, lots of people ask us for information and help when it comes to real estate, whether they're looking for retirement, an investment property, or maybe they're looking to relocate to the area. And we refer them over to our friends at Playa. The folks at Playa we've known for years, and they'll make sure that you, the buyer, are fully protected and informed when it comes to buying real estate. So if you're looking to buy a piece of paradise, check out our friends at buyplaya.com. Hey, Russell, buenas tardes. How are you?
Hi, Kay. Thanks for having me here.
Hey, man, thanks so much. You're a hard man to catch up with.
Yes, I am. I like to move like a thief in the night.
I've been trying to get you on this show for how many months now?
I don't know. I think it's been 2 years. I think it's since before you started it, you told me about it. And I keep saying, okay.
Well, hey, I'm glad you're here now. That's the most important thing.
Me too.
So
we're here, and we're here together. We're going to talk about you today, right?
No, we're not. We're talking about you today. We're talking about you. Don't be turning the tables on me here. Maybe next time we can talk about me. No, a lot of people know my story, but I want to hear about your story because I want to hear about where you're from and how the hell you wound up in Playa del Carmen.
I have a giant ego.
What does that mean?
I got involved in a project with a couple of friends of mine back in, 2004. And, back in the day, it was kind of, it was like the ready, fire, aim approach to operating a business in Mexico. You know, we were kind of making things up as we went. And my friends had bought a little hotel and opened a restaurant in the tourist zone, and things weren't going so well. And I came down for a vacation and said, and was asked to give some feedback. And I said, I think that this just needs to be managed like you would manage a business back home, and treat people the way you treat people back home, and do things the way you do things back home, but in this new environment. And I was met with a lot of resistance with that because the mindset at the time was you kind of have to be really tough on people. Which is understandable. That's kind of old school, and so basically, I got caught up in my own self and said, well, I can do it, and I can show you that I can do it. So let me do it, and here I'll give you all the money that I have, and I became a partner in this project, and that's where it all started, and that was 2004, 2005, and I basically ran the business from New York, and that didn't really go as good as it could have. So I wound up moving down here full time in 2008 to with the mindset of turning things around and then selling in a year. And that was my own arrogance because it took me a year just to understand how to do business here. So it took about a year to figure it out, and then another year to turn it around, and 6 months, a year to start seeing it become profitable. So, it's basically a bunch of people back in New York told me I couldn't do it, and I said I can do it, and I got caught up in that, and I moved down. So it's not really a romantic story. I didn't come down here on vacation, fall in love, and stay, but it did get romantic after I got here. So I guess that's good.
Wow, that's really interesting. It sounds actually, just hearing your story, I mean, that's not an uncommon story in terms of the people who come down and they have that entrepreneurial spirit, and they realize that it's a lot of effort and some challenges to get through it to make something really work well here.
Yeah, it's hard to be successful anywhere. I don't care where you are. If you start a business or take over a business, you really gotta put the time in, and you have to learn the culture of wherever you're working, and then you got to do something right. I mean, you kind of have to do almost everything right, and the things that you do wrong, you got to suck it up and realize what you did wrong, so you learn and move forward, and if you keep showing up every day and you stay consistent, then I guess you can attain some level of success, whatever that success is, how you measure it, because it's not always money. Sometimes it's just having a good life, having a life that you wanted to change and evolve into. So it's worked out for me. I mean, I worked real hard, and I have to say, and looking back, and so far, Mexico has been so good to me. It really, I mean, I feel so grateful to have made this move and gone with it, because I'm still here, and I'm still making my own kind of impact.
It certainly is a great story. Now, are you still involved with that hotel project?
No, we got a divorce in 2012. We kind of outlived our partnership, and so somebody had to go, and I was the lucky one. Although I shouldn't say that, because I think my former partners are very fortunate as well. And I took some time off, and then realized I had to get a job, because I got bills to pay, and I'm not a very good employee, so I decided to open a new restaurant, and here we are.
So tell me about the restaurant business, and tell us about your restaurant.
Well, I have a restaurant called Don Chendo, and it's a red sauce Italian American restaurant. Even though I'm from New York, we do our pizza in the style of Chicago, which is always entertaining for people when they hear that. We do. We specialize in home cooking, basically. I was taught how to make meatballs by a little old Italian lady in New York City, and I literally went to her house and spent the whole day with her, and we made the meatballs, and we ground the tomatoes, and we did everything from start to finish. And when we were done, half a day later, we sat down to dinner, and we had a beautiful meal. And it was always a dream to be able to share that and other recipes like that with people, and it was kind of an accident to actually stumble upon this Don Chendo restaurant. But it's it worked out. And I'm not quite sure if I answered your question.
No,
I can't remember.
That's okay. And I have, although I've had some of our staff here at Local Gringos been to the restaurant and everything, I have yet to go there. But I'm on a low carb diet, so I try to avoid pizza and pasta. But it always, even as you talk about it, I'm like salivating, going, God, it sounds so good.
Yeah, we're not really doing that good in the low carb department. Yeah, I'm trying, but I don't know, man. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm stuck. We are working on a what I call a gluten-free pizza crust that does not suck, and I nailed it last week. I had it. It was perfect. I made it again a couple days later, and it came out really goopy and disgusting. So I have to continue to practice this and perfect it, and then I'm pretty sure by high season we're gonna have we're gonna offer an entirely different kind of pizza, and it's gonna be gluten free, and I really don't think it's gonna suck.
Oh man. That's awesome. I like gluten free. I try if I have a choice, I always opt for gluten free. But as you said, most gluten free crusts suck.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't put anything on the table that I don't love. And that's part of the reason why we haven't added a whole lot of new menu items, is because I'm really anal about it, to be honest with you. I mean, I just can't tolerate mediocrity.
So when you're not practicing on or honing in on your gluten-free pizza crusts and running the restaurant, what do you do with your free time?
That's a good question. Every year is different, Kay. If I was to look at what I've done over the last 4 or 5 years, every year has been different. And this year I'm kind of in organization and recovery mode. So what I'm doing now is going to be completely different than what I'm doing 6 months from now with my free time. And I say that because I like to do a lot of work with the community. It's really easy to help animals here, but it's not necessarily easy to help people on a consistent basis. And because I don't get a lot of free time, I mean, the restaurant business is owning any business takes a lot of time.
Exactly.
That I know of. So what I have to do is, if I want to help the community, I have to do something that maximizes my effectiveness. So what I like to do is support other nonprofits. I like to be a middleman or a conduit and either help groups get off the ground or help promote groups so that they can find volunteers, or it kind of like our own little personal incubator, if you will. And we've done an enormous amount of work in the past with centers that specialize with autism with children. We've worked with the local social services, and not only have we helped them upgrade their facilities, but we've supplied other kinds of supplies to them, medical and clothing and whatnot. We've helped nonprofits. We used to work with a nonprofit that whose focus was to, one of their focuses was to provide life enhancing heart procedures to children who could not get that kind of service here. They used to send them to the United States, and then they would get either heart surgeries or some kind of procedure, whatever it was, and then when they came back, part of their aftercare would be to take a 81 milligram low dose aspirin every day, for the rest of their lives, because that's what you got to do when you have a heart issue. But the thing is that a lot of these kids come from families that are trying to figure out how they're going to get rice for the day. So, they're not going to buy these aspirin. They can't afford to buy these aspirin. I mean, they just want to put food on the table. So, and that kind of stuff is really expensive here. So, we put a program together where we reached out to the expat and the tourist community, and we said, this is where our restaurant is, and this is what we're doing. And if you could please donate a bottle or two of low dose aspirin, drop it off, and we'd be very happy. And we'll show you lots of love and affection. And we wound up turning that into a big thing. And we collected over 300,000 aspirin, and we kept 150 kids in a low dose aspirin every day for, I don't know, 3 years or something like that. And then as it happens here, that program wound up running into some trouble, and primarily I think some management issues, and they had to stop providing that service to the community, and and so you stop and you say, okay, well, what can we do now? And that aspirin program wound up evolving into a whole project with medications and getting vitamins for gals who were, I can't remember what are they called when somebody's pregnant and they got to take like special vitamins and whatever, like prenatal. Yeah, exactly. So we've and that's kind of an example of some of our work and successes. But So what I'm doing now is we were doing some pretty good intense work with an autism center here, and then we wound up having some changes, and we realized that we probably can't focus on one specific nonprofit if we want to have success with our group, because I've worked with a team from Michigan State University, and they come in and they provide these services, and then if they're working with one group and that one group has an issue, then that kind of hampers them from being able to do what they need to do, which is, in addition to helping the community, they also want to give their grad students the opportunity to get some experience. So it's a win-win for everybody. So now we're at the drawing board, and we're trying to figure out what we can do to kind of cast a wider net and be more effective, and what can Michigan State University bring to the table that is effective, and that we can do over the long term. And if one group can't work with us for whatever reason, then we've got another 8 or 10 groups that we're working with, so that when the time comes, because they like to come down here on spring break, and instead of partying, they commit their time to serving the communities. But that means they come down with 12, 18, 20 people, and they pay for their own plane tickets, and then we have to find them a place to stay, and we got to get them food for the whole time, because they pay for their own plane tickets, but after that we need to get the community to kick in somehow, because these kids can't afford to go on a Mexican vacation. That what is it, a work-cation, or I don't even know what that's called, when people they go on vacation but they really work. So, but anyway, so that's what we're doing. Well, that's kind of what we're doing now. We're in the planning stages, and then so as far as my own community service that I'm doing right now is I actually moderate a really active local Facebook page, and help provide information to the community, and that takes, I don't know, I probably give that 3 or 4 hours a week right now, and we've got over 7,000 people on the page, and we get a lot of action. I think we're probably the busiest private group, Facebook group in Playa that is effective. I mean, there's some groups with 100,000 people on it, but there's so many people and there's so much going on that everything just gets lost. So we've managed to stay true to our objective of providing information to the community, and in a non-political, or in a nice way. We try to keep a nice tone about it. So I get my community service time in with that, and I found that 3 or 4 hours a week is probably the most anybody should give from a volunteer standpoint, without risking burnout. So I guess that's what I'm doing now. And like I said earlier, talk to me a year from now, and I'll probably be doing something completely different.
Oh, good. We'll make a date for next year then, and I'll start asking you now for the date for next year, and so we can catch up with you, because you're hard to get nailed down.
Okay. And then we'll interview you.
Exactly. So, you had said a little bit earlier that, you came down to the Riviera Maya, and you didn't come down here on vacation and just fall in love with it, that the romance didn't start until you were here. So I want to talk about that romance stuff. What is that? What do you find, or that your passion or your romance that you have found here in the Riviera Maya since you came down here initially just to do some work and clean up a business mess?
I feel like I grew up here. My life has changed 100% since I came down here. We live in the land of tequila, and I managed to actually get sober down here. I quit drinking 7 years ago, and that had a profound change on my life.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. And living in the land of tequila, people might think that, well, that's the wrong place to do that, but it really is a really good place to do that. I mean, you can't run from your demons, and so you get to see things head on and learn how to live life on life terms. And so I adopted what we would call a sober lifestyle, and in the process of that, I've learned how to meditate, this is a great place for that. It's somehow, I don't know what it is. It's a very spiritual place, and it's an easy place to take a moment and connect with the inner self. And then I wound up meeting a really great gal, and we live together, and we have a little family, and I just turned 50 this year, and I don't have any kids of my own, and I never even imagined living in with a child, and now I get to be a bonus dad, which is really cool. And so, I was a single guy, a lifelong bachelor who moved down here with my dog, and, like to drink and party and have a good time. And if I look now and I look back and I look at how my life has evolved, it's totally, completely different. It's still exciting. It's still, I think it's very interesting, and it's much more dynamic now than it was when I first got down here. I think I was a bit myopic when I came down here, and now I got to look at different things from different perspectives and think about other people, and it's a small community, so you always have to think about what you're doing and how it affects other people, and I've learned to try to approach my life with love and acceptance, and it's a really nice evolution, and the thing is like I said, a year from now, who knows what my mood's going to be like? I mean, I could, I don't know, but it's nice to be in love. It's nice to be part of a family. It's nice to have my mom be able to come down for a month or two in the winter and get out of New York and chill out and be a grandma to a beautiful child, and you know what I mean. It's just it's amazing how you can not only change your own life, but what these changes then have a ripple effect on others, and if you can stop and take a moment and reflect, and it's actually a really beautiful life that we live, and this is my life, and this is the path that I chose, and I'm totally, completely grateful for actually making the move to come down here.
Oh man, it's just absolutely a wonderful story, Russell.
Thank you, Kay.
No, really, I'm kind of like in awe, listening, going, wow, this is because it's the evolution of your journey's changed, is quite different. I talk to a lot of people who will come down, and yes, they get into the party mode, and some of them are still into it, and that's okay too. But it's nice to see that everything has been an evolution in your journey to where you are today.
Thank you. Yeah, I like change, and I think that if we allow ourselves to grow, then we get to somehow stay young. I tell people life is like a tomato. When you're green, you're growing, and when you're ripe, you rot. And so I want to continue to, grow. Okay,
green tomatoes. You're a green tomato, but don't they? I don't think your nickname though is, what is it, Rosendo?
Yes, my when if you're a native Spanish speaker, the U and E, the vowel, even Russell's not an easy word to say like that. I mean, if you were to call me Russell in Spanish, it would be like Russell, but it's kind of a tongue twister. So my staff at my first place wound up nicknaming me Rosendo, which is a name that is popular in like Monterey, where not necessarily on the Yucatan, and Rosendo basically was an insult because it translated to little pink boy, and so that was kind of funny, and everybody in Mexico's got a nickname anyway, so I didn't care. And, the fact that they acknowledged me was totally cool. Back in 2008, I just wanted somebody to talk to me, and accept me. So they wound up calling me Rosendo. And then, and that's what, there are people here who don't even know my given name. They just know me as Rosendo. And now, I have the restaurant Don Chendo, and Chendo is short, is for Rosendo. So there's people here who call me Chendo who don't even know that Rosendo is my name from Russell, you know what I mean? So I have a lot of names. And that's fine. That's part of the culture here, you got nicknames. And I'm totally cool with that. It's actually kind of fun. I find it endearing.
Well, that's what nicknames are always a gift. They're usually a gift of endearment, even though to the outsiders they may go, "What?"
Yeah. Well, I as long as they don't start calling me Gordo, right? Which is pretty common here. Which
I know, but Gordo's not meant offensively.
Exactly, but you have to explain that now because people listening don't know what Gordo means.
Yeah. Oh, Gordo. Gordo is. Thank you, Russell. Gordo is what's the play? Is for chubby people. Chubby, large people. Is there I'm trying to be politically correct and not offend anybody. But no, Gordos are usually kind of stocky, heavy-set men. And you would just call him Gordo, and it's just a nickname. It's more of a term of endearment, and it's also a descriptive term. It's like if someone called me Blondie, because I have blonde hair.
That's a really good answer, Casey. I'm from New York. I'm not sure if I can be that gentle as you were. So I'm glad that we gave you the opportunity to. Now I want you. Do you want to give the Chendo explanation to a Gordo? No.
Okay. All right. Just thought I'd ask. Yeah. Oh. So Russell, I want to ask you. One of the great things we have about the people who listen to the show is that they're coming down to the area. And for the most part, our listeners are looking for experiences that are not at a typical resort. They don't want to be at the buffet line or just sip at the pool and drink, frozen pre-mixed drinks and things like that. So do you have any recommendations of places to go or things to do, places to eat, of course, Don Chendo, but things that people can experience when they're here that's going to give them a little more authentic experience than just staying on a hotel property?
Well, that's a good question. That's tough. We could probably do 2 or 3 segments just on that. So to put things in a nutshell, the first thing I would say is, it's so interesting to take a minute and listen to how people talk to each other here, and kind of try to connect with that, because there's something about, I don't know if it's the Spanish language or if it's the culture, but people have a tendency to be very gentle with each other, even in a confrontation. There's like some kind of a respect there. Yeah. So that's something that I think people can they can connect with, both obviously in the resort, but when they get in the taxi to come into town, and then if you want to go to Walmart or the supermarket and do some shopping and just get out of yourself and your own discomfort with being in that environment because you don't understand the language and the layout's different and whatnot, and kind of just stop and pay attention to what people are doing around you. And when you can do that, I think that there's like a synthesis that happens that carries over to people, and I can kind of pick that up when people come into our restaurant, that the people who are tuned in to how people are, they reflect that somehow, and I think that's something nice to take home. It's like a unexpected souvenir. Now, as far as places to go, there's a long list. One of my favorite places is a great little restaurant around the corner from my place on 25th Avenue and 28th Street. It's called Elemento, and it's not really your quintessential Mexican restaurant. They do base most of their menu on I guess like a Mexican cultural food, but they add some international flair to it. Their food's really good. Their prices are great. But the thing that puts them over the top is the love and affection that they put into what they prepare and put on the table. They have this. They're just really meticulous about giving this presentation that's like that just kind of wows you when they put the food on the table. Like they once served me a bowl of soup that was in a conch shell or a gourd shell, and they had this boiling hot lava rock that they dropped into the soup, and the lava rock is what kept the soup hot while I was eating it. And because the rock was hot, the soup evolved while I was eating it. It actually got better while I was eating it, which was really crazy. And they have this, and that's like a loving, affectionate way to serve a meal. Not only is it aesthetically appealing, but it's also, it's really thoughtful from a taste standpoint. And the good thing about it is a lot of times you go to restaurants that are really into the aesthetics of it, and they want to give this awesome presentation, and they give you like one bite, and then you pay all this money for it and you walk away hungry. And these guys kind of they've kind of like brought things together where they're not stingy with the food, so that you feel like you get a good value, and you can get a really good lunch there. If you go for their lunch menu, it's like, I don't know, $8, $9, $10. And you can get like a little appetizer and an entree and some kind of crazy water. Like they make coconut water, but it's always got something in it, or they make cucumber water and with lime and pomegranate seeds, or what I mean. And it's always dynamic and it's always different, and it's they just put a lot of love into what they do. And a lot of restaurants, they're just focused on putting the food on the table and trying to get by. And I think that these guys kind of, while we're completely different, they seem to have the same kind of philosophy that we do, and that is put really great food on the table and don't charge people too much for it, and be gentle and be nice, and eventually you'll grow the business, and then you'll wind up being able to send your kids to school, but in the process don't put profits ahead of the love that brought you to the kitchen in the first place. So that's my recommendation. I think that, and they've been around. They've been there for, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years. So, it's not like, okay, well, by the time this conversation hits the internet, they're going to be gone. You know what I mean? Like I think they're going to be around for a while.
That's great. No, that's a wonderful recommendation. I can tell. I certainly want to check it out for sure. What else do you have for me? I want to hear. What else does Chendo have? What other recommendation or secret spot? You've got to have a couple other little places that you sneak off to every now and again.
Well, it's. Whoops! Sorry, I just put a cranberry in my mouth. I get excited, and now it's like there's cranberries in front of me, so I got to eat them. So let me just put these away. Most of us know the La Floresta, which specializes in shrimp tacos, and they're on the highway. I guess parallel to around 8th Street or 10th Street or something like that.
I think it's 8th Street.
And they make really great shrimp tacos, and they've been around for a long time, and I think that they have the best salsa Mexicana in town, and they always have. And salsa mexicana is basically, back in the States they call it pico de gallo, only it doesn't have any jalapenos or anything in it, and it's really good. But that's not why I'm telling you about La Floresta, because everybody knows La Floresta, so there's really not, it's special, but it's in the context of this conversation, it's not. But when La Floresta closes in the afternoon, because they're only open for lunch, one of the family members then comes in and reopens it, and it's like a no-name taco place, and they do grilled tacos. They do carne asada, which is basically grilled steak, arrachera, which is marinated flank steak, chorizo, which I could take it or leave it. You know what I mean? The chorizo it's not my thing, but it's, some people love it, and they make the best tacos. I think that currently they're my favorite tacos in town, and I think they call them style of Guadalajara, and they serve the tacos with some whole boiled frijoles charros, like beans.
Ooh,
so
love
they
those.
they give you the tortilla with the meat on it, and the meat's cooked over charcoal, and then they put some beans on that, and then they give you like roasted grilled onions on the side. They're like, they're just like basically caramelized onions, but it's so simple. It's so simple, but I don't know, man. I can't stop eating their tacos. They're so delicious, and their salsa's good. And and it's funny because La Floresta, when they're open, they've got like 80 tables, and it's like this big place, and it's a food factory. But then they stack all the tables and chairs up on the side, and when they come in and they do the taco deal, they set up like 10 tables, So you're like in this place that's not really supposed to be what it is, and it kind of adds to them. And it's kind of smoky because they're cooking with the charcoal under the canopy, so the smoke's kind of got to figure out its way to get out of there, and it's good. We had tacos there the other night, and I had 5 tacos, and I always get mine with flour tortillas and cheese, so that always adds to the price. And my gal had 4 tacos, and so we had 9 tacos, steak tacos, and we each had a soft drink, and I think our bill was $20. So we had a really satisfying dinner for $10 each, and and it's like, this is great, So not only am I telling you, because you can have a favorite place to go, but if you go to your favorite place and they have like a variety of things on the menu, you got to tell people what to have, because unlike Elemento, which is always changing and evolving, and it's always exciting, those core places like, La Floresta or the Nighttime or El Fogón, they all have that one thing, that one or two things that they do that they specialize in, that they're really good at. So, if I was going to say, okay, go here, have the tacos, get the arrachera. If you don't love corn tortillas, which I do, but I love flour tortillas more, then get the flour tortillas and get the cheese and go crazy and have a good time. But this is what you should have when you go there, and that's what I recommend. And I think that because if somebody goes and they say, oh, well, give me 4 chorizo tacos, and they might say, it's okay. Well, you know what? I told you that was okay. So, unless you really love chorizo of all different kinds, just get the arrachera.
Yeah,
Anyway,
arrachera is always a winner.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's and it's off the beaten path though. You got to get there, So but I guess if you're, yeah, I don't know. Just I don't know. That's it. I'm done with that.
No, I love it. I remember Floresta before that was the big Floresta like it is today. They used to wash cars there, and they had a little tin Coca-Cola shack, and that was Floresta. It was just this, like 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 square tin shack where they served shrimp cocktails, a few shrimp tacos, but it was cold. They weren't really cooking, and sold Cokes, and that was it. So we used to go and drive up from Acomal, take our truck to be washed, and just sit there at the table and eat from this little tin Coke stand. which now has become the ever popular Floresta, which even, I mean, it's also a place I think people don't realize a lot of business is done at Floresta because a lot of us go there for business meetings. We go there for business lunches.
Absolutely.
It's
that's such a great place to bring people.
Yeah.
And they get the food on the table in like 2.5 minutes. They just because they have 3 things, so all they do is they just make it. It's awesome, and it's great. I didn't even know that they used to wash cars there. That was pre me, so it's good to hear that. I had no idea. I'll have to include that in my shtick next time.
Yep, they used to wash cars there. So, Russell, where can people reach out to you if they want to get tips? Perhaps they want to or keep track with you with your community work, so they can participate or donate, or find out more about Don Chendo so they can come in for lunch or dinner. Where can people reach out to you?
Well, we have a pretty active Facebook page for the restaurant. It's called Don Chendo Playa. And, if we do something with the community, we'll share that through there to try to bring people in. And so that obviously, every business wants people to follow their Facebook page, but it's not just for the business. We're pretty involved in the community, so we can share that, regardless of whether even we share our projects, and we also share other people's projects on that. So it's a little bit more dynamic than just a typical Facebook page that wants to sell pizza. And I also think it keeps things a little bit more interesting too. So, and actually every now and then we put something up there that's kind of funny. So, there's the entertainment factor. So I think maybe the Facebook page is the Don Chendo Playa Facebook page is probably a good vehicle for staying in touch with us, And for people that are moving here that are listening to this, I think that it would be a good idea to maybe explore, if you want to do some community service, it might be a good idea to explore joining the Seaside Rotary. That's an English-speaking Rotary that does a lot of really good things for the community, and even they because it's a group of people, everybody's got their own thing. So even if the Rotary's not doing something that is fits your motivation, in connecting with the people that are in there, you might learn about some different projects and different things that you can do. Because there's always something going on here. It's not always easy to find out about it.
Great information. Yeah, the Seaside Rotaries are really, you guys are all real active, and it's always awesome to see the posts and the updates of all the good work that's going on.
Yeah, it's good work, and there's a lot of great groups that are doing awesome work. I know you're a big fan of Coco's Animal Rescue. Not Animal Rescue, is it Coco's Animal Welfare, who does great work in the community, not just, helping animals, but helping educate people. And, it's, that Coco's could run a Fortune 500 company, and they're really organized and they're really good. But what happens is the more successful they become, the harder it is for them to get help, be it financial or even volunteers, because people look at them and go, they've got more money than God, and they've got everything they need. But what happens is that mindset becomes common, and then people stop helping them, and the more successful they get, the more help they need, and that's kind of a conundrum I think that they're in right now. So I think it's a great idea to find a group that's successful, connect with them, help them, and then if you also want to do something else and help another group, then that's a good like common denominator, and then you can use them to branch out and find something else. Because they're in like a group like Coco's or the Rotary, they touch lots of different communities, and they're involved with lots of different people. So it's a great way to get exposure, and just don't forget where you got your start and stick with continue to support those other groups. Great
advice, really great advice, and it's also a great way to network and meet local and meet other people in the community and not only assist them, but just meet other people who are donating or being involved. And there's a lot of great folks that help out with all of these local community efforts. So
yeah, let's look at it like this. If Coco's wasn't around and they didn't have their annual anniversary party, you and I would never even see each other.
This is very true.
we move kind of in similar circles, and we know a lot of the same people. But you're there, and I'm here, and we don't. And I think that's like a misconception that people might have with Playa, because it's still a fairly small town. Is everybody knows each other, and we do know each other, but that doesn't mean that our paths cross. Yeah. And I look forward to the Coco's anniversary party because might see Kay. You went there last year, which was disappointing, but that's kind of how we got to know each other, and since then we've had the opportunity to do some work together and actually make an impact on the community. So go us.
Yay. Well, hopefully we'll catch up on some next community project, and I always look forward to seeing you. You're always a joy to talk with.
Thank you. Well, I'd rather talk about you than me. So
you did a great job talking about you today. I'm thrilled.
Yeah. Well, as soon as we disconnect, I'll exhale.
Oh, Russell, I really want to say thanks so much, because it's just great to hear your story and to chat with you, because you're doing amazing things, and it's just just really nice to catch up, because I've been trying to get you on the air for a while.
Thank you, Kay. I've enjoyed it, and I'll look forward to interviewing you.
All right. I'll let you know when.
Okay. You got it. And then I'll chase you.
Well, are you inspired now to move down here? Do you want to move down here and have a little place of your own? Well, then you need to talk to our friends at By Playa. They have a friendly and knowledgeable international staff. They speak lots of languages, and they are known as being a buyer's agent. Well, what does that mean? That means they are only going to show you and sell you properties they know that have escrituras. An escritura is a title. And it's part of their due diligence to make sure the title is clear, there's no liens, and that the person who's selling the property is actually the owner. By Playa works with lawyers that specialize in fideicomisos, which is a Mexican trust. You may have heard of it already before. And they can address things such as capital gains problems immediately and right up front, so that you have no surprises along the way to closing. So contact our friends at By Playa at buyplaya.com. Well, thanks for tuning in today, everybody. But before you go, just a reminder, today's show notes are at locogringo.com/podcasts. And we will have a link there for Don Chendo's Facebook page. So not only can you, like them and keep up with some of the tasty stuff happening at the restaurant, you can also keep abreast of all the community service projects that are going on that Russell's involved with. So if you want to get involved, you can reach out to him there through Facebook. If you're looking for restaurants along the Riviera Maya, not only do we say Don Chendo and Playa del Carmen, but contact our concierge, Paulina. She has restaurant recommendations up and down the Riviera Maya. She's more than happy to help you out. You can email Paulina. Her address is concierge@locogringo.com.
Thanks for listening. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe. For links, show notes, and more information, head on over to locogringo.com or give us a call toll-free at 800-478-0081.
Porque se tragó la luna, estaba enferma la rana. Su madre soba que soba, dedos de pluma la panza. Pensó ranita que luna era una toronja blanca. Y aunque la luna es de leche, la leche estaba cortada. Croa, croa, dedos de pluma. Croa, croa, dedos de agua. Croa, croa.